Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Malaysia Tourism Network. The motivation of this network study is to investigate the performance of tourism of each state and to determine which state has become the hub for the tourism. By studying this dataset, it helps to determine what action needed to be taken for the tourism to grow in the future. The data is taken from Department of Statistics Malaysia. The data is about number of tourists by state visited 2022. To build the adjacency matrix, the self-loop will not be considered. This means the tourists from the same state, like Johor to Johor, will not be considered. The threshold setup is 1/16, which is the average of the number of tourists from one state to another. So the definition of the graph for the tourism network is a set of vertices and edges, where vertices is a set of states and edges is the weight of the adjacency matrix. The weight represents the percentage of tourists from one state to another state. There are two transformations that have been done. The first one is transformation from weight to distance, where the largest weight now becomes the shortest distance. And the second transformation is transformation from a directed network to undirected network for the analysis of configuration model and also modularity. This is the network representation of the tourism network. Tourism network in 2022 is not a complete graph. It has a disconnected component, Sarawak, because Sarawak has no significant movement out or in. However, it does not mean that Sarawak does not have an active tourism activity. In fact, Sarawak has active 4% domestic tourism. This means that majority of the Sarawakians, they travel within Sarawak because Sarawak is the largest state in Malaysia. So the arrow shows the movement from one state to another in terms of tourism. For example, as we can see, Selangor has become the center, and many states contribute to the number of tourists in Selangor, as well as Pahang, Kuala Lumpur. So the motivation becomes even stronger to study what is the centrality scope for each state, and also we want to compare between the models. So the arrow showed a significant amount of number of tourists. Undirected tourism network. If there exists mutual edges between two states, it just makes the edge becomes even stronger and the distance becomes shorter. Centrality. Ranking of centrality in degree centrality indicates popularity. These states have become the most popular choice of destination of tourists in Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur, Selangor and Pahang are the top 3 tourists which has the highest in degree centrality. Kuala Lumpur and Selangor receive 9 states that contribute to the number of tourists, while Pahang receives 8 states that contribute to the number of tourists. Our degree centrality indicates people from the state enjoy tourism the most because they like traveling to another state. Johor, Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya and Perlis are the top 4 states which has highest out degree centrality. Between centrality indicates state that acts as a bridge to connect between communities or modules in the network. The top 3 states Kuala Lumpur, Selangor, and clustering coefficient is the probability that two neighbors of a state are also neighbors, which hence indicates community. Tourists from different states, they visited interstates. Perlis has the highest clustering coefficient followed by Putrajaya. Why Perlis has the highest clustering coefficient? Because Perlis has 10 pairs of neighbors connected by edges out of 15 possible triplets centered at Perlis. Moreover, Perlis is a small size state as well as Putrajaya. So the size has a close relationship with clustering coefficient. Comparison with different model. Adversary random graph, it has probability, and what's target small world? It's a graph of short average path length but high clustering coefficient. While parabolic Albert scale-free network, it indicates the scale-free of the degree distribution. As we can see, the average path length and clustering coefficient of the tourism network, it is not much resembled by any of these models, but the degree distribution, it's close to the degree distribution of the small world. However, for configuration model, the tourism network is solely based on the degree distribution, as the configuration model well characterized between the centrality, clustering coefficient, and eigenvector centrality. Modularity score tells us how good is the partition into modules, and this modularity reveals the geographical information about Malaysia states. It's divided into the west and also the north and also Sabah and Sarawak. The minimum spanning tree of tourism network is very interesting because the minimum spanning tree of tourism network is about the popular flow of domestic tourism. Minimum spanning tree will be the minimum distance, which implies the strongest tourism connections. As you can see from this table, the shortest distance, for example, Kelantan to Selangor, Melaka to Johor, Negeri Sembilan to Pahang, will be in the minimum spanning tree because this shortest distance indicates the strongest tourism flow because we have transformed our network. Three most interesting results. First, the candidates for the hub for Malaysia's domestic tourism are Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, and Pahang based on between the centrality and in degrees centrality. In fact, according to DOSM, Pahang has become the center for tourism activity because Pahang has many tourism spots like Cameron Highland and Genting Highland. Second, the minimum spanning tree of tourism network reveals the most active tourism activity interstates in Malaysia. Last but not least, smaller states tend to have high clustering coefficient centrality and form communities, as in the case of Perlis. Thank you.